Welcome back. We're looking at the case of Dr. Mohammad Qatanani, who until recently was facing deportation had it not been for a grassroots campaign that united law enforcement along with Christians and Jews around this Muslim leader. Joining me here is Dr. Mohammad Qatanani and his lead defense attorney, Claudia Slavinsky. The reaction of the community was the amazing thing in your hometown. And actually, just tell me about this, because they raised $250,000 for your defense, and they actually protested outside the court case when you, in your favor, when you were actually in court.
They were ready to collect that money, but they didn't collect that money. We didn't need it, and we hope not to need it. But the community stood very strong, and they saw that this case is their case. It is the case of dignity. The case is of their future in this country. And if this case, if they lose this case will have a very bad effect on the community in general. So this is one. Second, I think the relationship between the Imam and the community, the Muslim community, Arabic community, and in general the other faiths, made that strong solidarity for this case.
And presumably this is because when you first arrived in the area that the community was pretty fragmented. This is what I was led to understand, is that you actually helped to bring, with all the activities you introduced and bringing the community, that's really what brought them together, I gather, yeah?
When I came in 1996, the community was not strongly established as it has to be. And I tried to get the community together. I tried to put my community on the direction to its future, especially working in the interfaith dialogues, working with the political arena, to be engaged in the issues of the community at large. So with the time they feel that they became more American, they became more, or they became Muslim American. Before they were Muslims, and the American is not ready.
Right.
But with the time they became American Muslim American. They are very proud that they are American. They are very proud to be Muslims, and they can live in America as Muslims. So this made that unity.
And Claudia Slavinsky, the interesting thing was the turnout of the defense for the Imam in the court. So what impact did it have, having law enforcement officials there, having senior members of agencies, security agencies?
I've never done a trial like this where we were actually turning away witnesses who wanted to come forward because there were just too many. It's never been easier to gather an amazing array of witnesses from law enforcement. We had 2 sheriffs. We had an assistant U.S. attorney. That is incredibly significant because that's the government law office that represents the government that was prosecuting this case. So in a sense, it was a conflict between them.
Right.
And character witnesses, of course. We had rabbis, we had Christian ministers and Catholic priests. It was an amazing, amazing trial.
There's an email that came in I'd like to put to you. It came from Lesa in California, here in the US. And it says, it was interesting to see that Imam Qatanani did get vindicated, and that it was his community who could save him. Could this happen, for instance, in Egypt? What makes this case special is that the community members saved this man and not a highly placed government official. Now, apart from those government officials who came to his defense, what kind of impact was there on the proceedings when suddenly, again, as you say, you had a rabbi appear, you had Christian ministers and priests appear?
Absolutely. I think that it was incredibly important to the judge to see the wide scope of support that he had. And it really established his character, his remarkable character, and it's really been an honor for me to represent Dr. Qatanani.
Now, the rabbi who came, Rabbi David Center, it was very interesting listening to him on your website about how he initially reacted when he came to the court, saw you in traditional clothes, and said he was almost a little frightened. You know, he had never seen someone dressed like this. He has a daughter who lives in Israel with a grandson there as well in Israel. But he couldn't say enough nice things about you and the way you've worked in the interfaith area. Now, tell me how this goes to the next step. I mean, what has this done in terms of encouraging you to reach out more and bringing in the other religions?
I believe that this is a very good sign of the importance of reaching out to other faiths, especially for us as Muslims. Maybe if you live in Jordan or Palestine or Muslim world, you don't think in this way, because you live in a Muslim community, Muslim environment, all people around you, most of them, they're Muslims. So when you live in this beautiful community and society, I think you have to reach to your neighbors, and this is the Islam taught us how to reach to your neighbors, how to know each other in the Quran, to know each other. We made you nations to know each other. So I started this understanding from the beginning. So from 1996, 1997, we started the Muslim Christian Project for Northern New Jersey. From 1996, even and after a few months from my arrival to United States, we started with that journey, and we established and built on it until reaching this stage. The Rabbi, of course, we had been together for many years, and it was, of course, very hard for him and for me to start that dialogue, especially to get people around you to understand the importance of this. But within the days, the people around you understand that this is a very important bridge, a very important relationship, and we want to continue. And I think that we have to continue.
Claudia, if I could put this email to you that came in from Jerry Kernahan in Oklahoma. Jerry wrote in saying, faiths can and must work together if we are to have hope. And I wonder how much that topic came up in the court deliberations. How much did the issue of community interfaith dialogue come up as evidence?
Well, that was really the signature piece of this whole case was, and you know, we just don't know what the government's motivation was behind it, but they certainly were aware of Dr. Qatanani's leadership in interfaith work and how long, I mean, way before 9/11. And it was what we showcased in the trial as the proof of his superb moral character.
We had, I'm going to put two emails back to back to you that
Sure.
came in. One from the United Kingdom, from Harifia in London, who says, thank God for an honest judge. And then one that came in from Jim Pankey here in the US, and Jim wrote in saying, the US justice system has been defunct for the past 8 years. And obviously a bit of a jab at the Bush administration, but what I'm wondering is, in retrospect, should this case have even gone to court, in your opinion?
Well, I was surprised that the government's fervence at going forward with it after, you know, they revealed what their evidence was, because it was so flimsy that it seemed to me like something that before the 9/11 world, I don't think would have ever made it onto a court, in a courtroom. And here it was, which is really baffling, and of course makes us fight even stronger, because, you know, we want our judicial system not to be defunct, and it's really important that it have the life and the objectivity that it was shown by this decision.
Now, of course, I mean, apart from just your character, you know, sitting here and talking to you, you have a naturally what seems to be a very forgiving and very pragmatic approach to life. How did your children, I know 3 of your children had come with you to America, and then you had 3 more children who are American citizens, they're born here. How, and they're still young, I gather, but how does your family react to what's happened, and how does it make them feel about American values?
I tried all my time to let this story to be hidden in my chest with my wife, not to take this story to my family as much as I can. And even they suffered because of the decision for many years. But even though I tried to tell them that this story happened because of immigration issues and it will be solved. So I thank God that they passed this test. But now they are very happy with the decision, and I think they are waiting for ending this month.
God forbid anything bad happens, but if it came to a decision where the government wins and says they can deport you, what happens to you? What options do you have?
Of course, I tried to go back to Jordan, to go back to Palestine, because I am still resident there. And I didn't put my plan where, because I know that if I was deported, I will go somewhere else to the land of God, and God will put me anywhere. So if He put me in Jordan, in any place, I was very ready to any decision.
Where does this leave the Imam's American-born children?
Oh, well, that's an interesting question. Of course, they are American citizens, always will be, and they're, although they're young now, and certainly would go with their parents, but they would be at any time able to claim and continue to be U.S. citizens and live here, should they choose to do that.
We had an email that came in from the UK, from Greenwich, and Lorraine wrote in saying, "This case is surely an anomaly. I wish people of all faiths could work together. Life is short and people should do what they can for others because they want to, not necessarily because of religion." And I wonder what sort of difference this case, the Imam's case, might have in the way the legal system here deals with other similar cases if they arise. Do you think it may have had an impact on the way things are being handled?
Oh, I think it certainly has to, because I think that all of this takes some amount of courage. The post 9/11 world is a very harsh one here in this country, and it requires people like Dr. Qatanani to come forward to say what he says. I think that Rabbi Center, as a rabbi of a conservative congregation, has tremendous courage to go to his community and say, we need to work together. And that as a lesson for that, and the results of it, and how powerful that message is for people, has been really as important as the decision, I feel.
Well, Claudia Slavinsky, I want to thank you very much, and Imam Dr. Mohammad Qatanani, thank you very much for discussing this case. We'll, of course, follow to see what happens, but we wish you luck with it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. And thank you for being with us. Now, don't forget, you can send us your thoughts about pressing issues around the world. Just send any emails you have to riz@aljazeera.net. If you have show ideas, we'll certainly consider them. That's all from me and the team. We'll see you next time.